Good morning, everyone. Merry Christmas. Still in the Christmas season. So, when the light goes on, it's time to act. When the light goes on, it's time to act. I had an opportunity this past week to fly up to Providence, Rhode Island. A buddy picked me up, and then we drove another 4 hours up to New Hampshire, and that's where we met up with a couple of other guys from seminary, all of us priests, and we had the opportunity to do some skiing, wildcat, Attitash. But the fun part is the fact that we can give each other a hard time. And it was funny, too, because sometimes we don't even think about it. We went out for pizza, and we were just back and forth, you know. And this is some of the things that I try and instill in our young people, is that you can say one thing to a friend, and it's actually funny and brings you closer. You could say the same thing to somebody else who you're not necessarily really good friends with, and it's hurtful. So, but it's hard for people to. The guy that was there, he just laughed and just kind of shook his head, and but I have no doubt that he could see the good friendship and the brotherhood that we had. A faithful friend is a sturdy shelter. If you find one, you find a treasure. Sirach 6, one of my favorite scriptures. So if you haven't had time over this holy day and holiday season to actually get with a friend, give them a call, okay? Because it's so important for our human formation to do that. Now, when the light goes on, it's time to act. We're celebrating the Epiphany, and the Magi saw the star, and that was the light. They were already looking for God in some way, and now they come bearing gifts: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Gold for a king, frankincense for a god, or at least a high priest. They didn't quite fully understand there. And myrrh for a man at his burial. But they came bearing gifts. They saw the star, and they acted. That is a proclamation that the world, that all nations now, can acknowledge that God has come to his people. Think about it for myself. In February of 91, I went on a retreat. In May of 2001, I took report from a critical care and trauma nurse in the medical intensive care unit. She was going out, I was coming in. In December of 2004, I helped to put on a confirmation retreat. And in February of 2016, the bishop asked me to take a new assignment. And those things that I've said there, they are epiphanies for me. In a sense, God gave a grace, a supernatural light, whether he used reason, which is a natural light, or faith, which is a supernatural light, a mixture of those, and the light went on. So for the retreat, it was the first time that I truly understood the love of Jesus Christ for me. That God loved me personally. That God said, "You are my son." And when you and I get such a revelation, then it's time to act. And really there, love will impel you forward. And so I knew that I wanted to share the love of God in Jesus Christ. In those particular instances, I started to teach CCD. It was a Curcio retreat, and that's act. When the light goes on, it's time to act. I took report, her name was Teresa, and it was in the ICU, you usually have 2 sick patients or you have 1 real sick patient. Well, I was getting 1 patient that wasn't so sick. So it was an easy night. I was giving her such a hard time. And she said, "Why are you being such a jerk?" All right, so she didn't say it. Yeah, she just laid into me. And in that moment, the light went on. I was not at peace. I was on my way to anesthesia school, was dating a great girl. I was not at peace. The light went on, and it was time to act. Anesthesia school to the side, the relationship to the side, go to seminary. When I was struggling in seminary, not with grades or the formation, but whether or not I should continue to be ordained, and I was 1 month away from writing the request to be ordained a deacon, and I was seriously considering not doing that letter. And then we had that retreat for the confirmandi. And I can't fully explain it other than I knew that I wanted to love as a priest loves. And so the light went on, and it was time to act. I wrote the letter. And then in February of 2016, the bishop said, it's time to leave Our Lady of Peace. I want you to go to St. Joseph the Worker and Sacred Heart of Mary. And I prayed about it, and I came back. In that second conversation I said yes immediately out of obedience, but I came back and I questioned him. And his answer the light went on. And I knew it was time to act. I want you to think about those instances, the epiphanies that you've had in your life. Maybe one or two, or you could just sit and meditate on so many of them. And we realize that God has given us the grace to see, just like He did to the Magi. And when He does, and we act, we're going to give witness to the love of God in the world. Now, I could probably give you a bunch of opportunities or examples where the light went on, and I did not act because I was afraid, or because I lacked courage. Maybe I didn't have the support or see the support that was there. And we all have those too. But I don't think He wants us to dwell on those as much as He wants to continue to bring light to our minds and strength to our will, that we will act. When the light goes on, it's time to act.